And welcome everyone to our new Atos Technology Services webinar. Today, the title of today's webinar is Bridge the Gap Between AI Proof of Concept to AI Production with Atos Sovereign AI. My name is Anna Gapińska and I'm Global Head of Marketing for Technology Services and Technology Consulting, and I will have the great pleasure to host and moderate today's meeting. As it was mentioned just a few seconds ago, the session is recorded. You will all have access to both recording and the presentation a few days after this webinar. And if you have, I assume that there will be many questions, but if you have any questions, we have Q&A session after the webinar, so please feel free to put all your questions in the question box. And now I think it is high time to introduce and present and welcome our today's experts, Loïc Maisonnas and Yannick Lecroix. Gentlemen, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Anna. Thank you, everyone, to attend the presentation. My name is Loïc Maisonnas. I'm a PhD in computer science, and I work more than 15 years in IT, and I'm now head of the Center of Excellence of Data-Driven Intelligence in Montpellier, and we work around data and AI. I'm also having the role of AI product manager on some TS offer like Sovereign AI. Yannick, on your side.
Hi everyone, my name is Yannick Lecroix and I work for the AI and Data Department in Montpellier. My mission is to help companies transform their AI project into industrial scale and successes. I assist them in identify key performance indicators that drive value creation and ensure a strong return on investment.
So today's subject is Sovereign AI. So we are going to introduce you a little around the offer Atos Sovereign AI. Then we will speak about why AI need MLOps. What will be the challenge in transitioning AI to production, to have your model in production and use them, and why you have to use MLOps as a strategy when you want to success in having your model in production. And we will talk about our approach around Sovereign AI and the way we propose to do this transition to production. So let's start with introducing Sovereign AI. So Sovereign AI is an offer that is built to help our customer to bring AI model in production. And for that, the solution brings with it a different component. One part is the on-premise infrastructure that will help you to have all the hardware system that is needed to have your model in production. And the second part is the end-of-end customers services that will help you to make your model in production. This approach have to ambition to bridge the gap between AI design and AI in production. In fact, most of our customers already have their own AI journey, and they start it. They have identified some usage, find some model that can solve their problems, and maybe they have collected the data to learn or to adapt or fine-tune these models. This is the phases we call build and design. But most of the time, lots of projects stop here. And the idea of Sovereign AI is to help you to deploy and operate your AI model. So we build an MLOps design, an architecture, and an implementation that will help you to have your hardware and all the software needed on top of it. And this will help you to develop MLOps cycle around this appliance. And once you have all these two parts, you will have your model in production, and they will be deployed as API, for example, and they could be used in all your infrastructure or all your application. And that will be the enablement of production usage. So to use such an appliance, this is important you will need to go to an MLOps journey. So why the idea is to discuss why your AI journey need MLOps to be successful. So when we talk about AI and we already speak about that. AI is everywhere now, but it's very important to say that in nowadays, corporate strategies see AI as something which is crucial for their success. They want to have AI in the next year to be successful. They are also one half, but if we say that 80% of the corporate strategies want to have AI in the next years, we can say that already 1/3 of the company has already deployed AI technologies. And they want to improve, as I say, and the goal is that some analysts like Gartner say that in the next years, more than 60% of the organization will have operationalized AI architecture. So we say that AI is growing, but nevertheless, when we talk about AI projects, only 1/2 of the AI project make it to production. So there is a gap. And moreover, if we think, there is lots of IT managers that are very hesitant to implement AI or generative AI due to sovereignty linked to their data. So in fact, they are right. When you implement generative AI, for example, you have many risks around the path. You can have intellectual property loss, you can have data leakage, you can have some models that are biased and that not respond as you needed. You can have IP infringement and so on. So there is lots of risk around the path. And if you want to manage this risk, you have to change and control what your AI is doing. And that's why MLOps could be a good solution. For example, when you are while you're deploying AI without MLOps, most of the time you have a data scientist team that work on their notebook. They develop their own model, and they push sometimes their model to production. And sometimes data scientists also push their model to production. And there is lots of risk in this approach. For example, your data scientists, they work in notebook. They do their own data cleaning. And when they want to push it to production, they want to have a data pipeline and not just data cleaning that is done every time. So most of the time, you have your data engineer that will review the pipeline, change it, and remake it. And there will be, for example, risk of deployment bottleneck. You will take time to do that. And sometimes what have been done in the data cleaning will not be the same as what will be in the data pipeline. Moreover, when your data scientist push his model in production, most of the time they do it manually. So they don't have evolution tracked. They don't have tracking of the performance of the model. And so there is also risk that what you have developed in your data scientist mode will not be quite exactly the same in production. And there is, again, risk that you, for example, move some bias in production, for example. As I say, when data scientists work, as you say on the left, they work with data science metrics. They push their model in production, and then they analyze, and then we monitor the quality of the model with user satisfaction. And the two are sometimes very different. Monitoring the performance of a model in production is not exactly the same as monitoring the model for the data scientist. And sometimes a model with low data science metrics could be quite enough for the user satisfaction. So there could be also gap between, okay, you will have your data scientists that make too much time to build their model, and the model won't map the user satisfaction. And one last time, we also, in my discussion, talk about a lot of data scientists. And in fact, most of the time, that's the data scientists that done the development of the model, but that's also them that they build the production engine that puts the model in production. And it's not exactly the same for the two competencies they needed. They are not, data scientists are not data engineers. They are not infrastructure engineer. So they don't have the knowledge to push their model or to operate the production of the model. And then there is lots of risk because they won't think about all the security risk, for example. So what we see here is that if we don't use MLOps and if we use some kind of standard usage of deploying AI, we won't succeed in AI. So that's why we will talk now about the challenge to transitioning AI to production, and I will let Yannick present this part.
So let's now talk about the challenges that companies often face while transitioning to production. When you aim to deploy an AI model into production, you will always go through 3 major steps, which are now standard in the industry. This process is known as moving from left to right in DevOps. So the first step is you train your model, you test it, and evaluate it. Depending on the governance that you apply, which is basically answering the question, what rules can allow an experimentation model to go into production? That can be an evaluation set, a threshold, or something else. And based on these gatekeepers, the model can go to the next step. Step 2 is an important phase because this is where you apply version control over your AI models. Every time you train a model, which is with a specific data set, you need to version it, and just for reproducibility, but also to allow rollback in case something goes wrong into the production environment. With DevOps principles and CI/CD pipelines, you are able to go back to the previous version with just a matter of a few clicks. All your models are registered into a central repository. So anytime you can, anytime with this model registry, you can audit and test every model that which has been staged into this central repository. Step 3 is when you deploy your model into the target environment, the production one. Your model, which acts as an endpoint, waits for new inputs data to return predictions to the system or to a user. Let's discuss now about the challenges that you might face while trying to industrialize your AI project. The first one is poor quality data. Having good quality data is not a priority, it is a must and a no-brainer. It doesn't matter which model or algorithm that you are going to use if the quality that you feed your model doesn't have good quality. So data analysis is sometimes overlooked, but it allows the extraction of patterns, insights, and relationships from large data sets, enabling predictions and informed decision making. So simply put, data analysis is a hit or miss for most AI projects. Do not rush into building something without this crucial step. The same thing applies for your infrastructure. So let's take a very simple example. You're a Lambda company and you would like to provide your employees a Gen AI chatbot. For privacy and security concerns, you would like to remain on-premise and you do not want to move to a public cloud. So that means that you want to run an open source LLM model on your existing infrastructure. But the real question behind all this, do we have sufficient number of GPU nodes in our cluster to handle all these AI requests? And are our teams trained enough and skilled enough to build and deploy those new use cases? As you can see, that can be tricky, and there are some considerations to keep in mind, especially if you haven't determined yet and your team's level of maturity on those aspects. We can list some requirements and some implications. So you need to have what? High performance GPUs or CPUs, robust storage solutions, expertise in machine learning or neural networks frameworks, expertise in data management and DevOps practices for deployment and maintenance. So the list can be very long, but you have to keep all this in mind. Companies which successfully industrialize AI projects have something in common. They remove the silos from dev and ops. They create a smooth collaboration among data scientists, data engineers, ML engineers, and security specialists. This diagram shows you, gives you a glimpse on how this collaboration works works well between team members when you adopt DevOps and MLOps principles. This is actually the goal of your company and the journey. But in the past, machine learning development was often ad hoc, with data scientists working alone and managing everything manually. MLOps changes this by standardizing and automating processes, making everything more organized and efficient. This involves using tools for version control, continuous integration, and monitoring. MLOps also shift the focus from models to data. It emphasizes the importance of having high-quality data, well-managed data throughout the entire process, from collection to deployment. Unlike traditional software development, which is static and infrequent, MLOps supports continuous monitoring and updating models based on real-time feedback. This, of course, requires embracing automation and rapid experimentation. Finally, MLOps is going to help you move from the lab and aim for production. This means considering scalability, reliability, and security from the get-go. This slide shows you your goal. Once you have your deployment pipeline set up, because it's not the end of the story. As the data evolves and changes pattern over time, you need to make sure that you capture those events through observability and monitoring, whether it's data drift or model drift. Because DevOps is actually the ability to react to change quickly. So if something goes wrong in production environment, with something that you haven't seen before, you must be able to deploy the fix or the update very quickly. Once you have done that, you must also schedule post-mortem meetings, update the governance policy, the metrics that you observe, your CI/CD and monitoring pipelines. All these steps refer to the DevOps Kaizen, and this is what continuous improvement is all about. This diagram also shows you the processes and the teams that teams must follow and in parallel with the evolution of data. Every local discovery, when something breaks into the system, must be documented and shared among the whole organization. It is called organization learning. It is not helpful if just a few people know how the system works and have the experience to solve these issues. What you want instead is your teams to collaborate, to update the processes, automated testing, to make sure that you will not face the same problem in the future, or at least you will be able to handle it better. Let's see now how MLOps can help you create more value from your AI projects or solutions. This loop is quite representative of what MLOps is at a high level. The whole point is to create a feedback loop that would make your AI solution more robust and efficient over time. As MLOps is a culture and not a job, it can be associated with the KISS method. So it's KISS means keep it super simple. So the very first thing you do is build quickly a model that you can then deploy, only to validate that the moving from left to right and making sure that everything works as expected. The second thing you do is making sure that the metrics that you observe is still relevant in a live environment. If it is, that's fine. If it's not, then via alerting and reporting, you inform the team that something is broken or if something is drifting, and that is step 4. Finally, and in step 5, you need to determine where there is room for improvement in your system. And then you update the system and all the associated processes. And this is called shifting left in a feedback loop mechanism. When building an MLOps platform, the entry point is the input data that will be used to train your AI model. That could be a feature store, a catalog, an S3 bucket, or a database. Once the data has been acquired and pre-processed, a model will be trained, tested, and evaluated. The trained model is versioned and staged into a model registry, and this is where you apply version control. Once staged, and depending on your strategy, the model is deployed into a production environment to serve as an endpoint. When deployed in production, this is where monitoring and observability take over. When you wish to industrialize AI, defining your governance is critical. But what is AI governance? AI governance refers to the rules and guidelines that ensure AI systems are used safely and ethically. It involves creating policies and frameworks to manage how AI is developed and deployed. But it's also being able to answer this simple question: under what condition can an experimentation model be versioned and deployed into a production environment? Depending on the use case, that could be using an evaluation set as a reference. And if this experimentation model performs better than the model running in production, that means that we have a green light to go to the next step. So if you reuse the feedback loop diagram that we showed in the previous slide, you can see that we define our governance in the design phase. It could be a very simple exercise to do with stakeholders. So if we take a Lambda pipeline, you need to specify the inputs, the outputs, all the actors, which can be a task orchestrator or something else. Once you have done this, you specify all the risk involved with this pipeline. And based on that, you can determine all the controls that you are going to put in place to prevent those risks from happening into the production environment. And all this can be done through automation. Therefore, that's not the right. Sorry. And so Atos has been able to assist companies such as Scottish Water and the city of Marseille, and in this process, in this MLOps process. Scottish Water is an IoT project on Azure to manage complex water a complex water network combining both rainwater and wastewater. This IoT platform currently has 4,000 sensors, with more to come in the future. The MLOps platform, which has been deployed, is in charge of monitoring various parameters in real time, such as water level and possible blockages in the pipes. The main objective is to improve the management of this water network by implementing predictive maintenance using AI services in Azure Databricks. As for the city of Marseille, the objective of the project is to improve management of reports linked to public space disorders by using AI technologies. This initiative is based on a mobile app which allows citizens to report disorders and that they find in a public space. So thanks to the integration of an MLOps platform, pictures of the reports are automatically classified by a model server and then assigned to city agents in charge of cleaning up the streets, thus speeding up the process and to manage those disorders. To conclude this section, let's review some couple of rules that you can follow. You need to adapt your goals to your team's maturity in AI and data. Do not try to do too much if the teams are not ready for it. Put in place data drift mechanisms to make sure that you will be able to detect and capture data changes. Use the KIF methods to deploy your first model, only to validate that all the automation pipelines are running smoothly. Do not try to overthink your goals. Let the system give you all the answers to your questions, thanks to the metrics that you are going to observe. Remember that you cannot improve something that you do not measure, and it's that simple. And if you have a DevOps and a mindset, never underestimate the human factor. DevOps and MLOps are a culture, And you need to make sure that as an organization that everybody from top down is aligned and on board with all those DevOps and MLOps practices. MLOps is actually not about tooling and frameworks, but really a culture. Every experimentation you do, every test you make should be tracked into a centralized platform and accessible to all team members. As a data scientist, you might try something that will not make to the production environment, but actually, this might pave the way for others and to improve and this experimentation and might end up in the production environment in the future. So once again, collaboration is key. IT code is created by humans, and nowadays sometimes it can be created by Gen AI. But actually, code can fail, and you need to accept this. It is something that you that will help you and improve over time. And when you accept a failure, and you will find all the strategies to make sure that you are going to improve and the platform and create more value. So you can fail, but you need to fail fast. And this is something that the Spotify CEO once said. So if you break something into a dev environment, it doesn't really matter because it's just a playground. So when you can go for it, and at least, and the whole system will adapt and improve over time. So, and remember, practice makes perfect.
So thank you, Yannick. I will now talk about sovereign AI and the sovereign AI way to industrialize your AI based on what we learned from Yannick. So sovereign AI appliance and what we propose with sovereign AI is an appliance, a framework, and customized services. The goal is to mix that with our partner Dell Technology to offer to our customer a full stack, an end-to-end approach for managing AI in a sovereign way and also with MLOps too. So the first part of this approach is to have framework and tools that will help you build your usage and help you have all the stack you need to push your model into a serving AI application. The idea is to help you to have also all the performance you need when you want to push your model. As Yannick say, you will need GPU, you will need sometimes just CPU, so you have to adapt you to what you want to do. And this is the goal of sovereign AI, is to propose something that is customizable to your needs. You will need skill and support around your path. And that's what we will help you with our experts that will help you on the MLOps part, but also on the data, because you will have to have your data clean up. You will have to select the good AI model. So we will have the skill and the support to help you use sovereign AI. Sovereign AI is based on monitoring, and it's also a good way to have risk management. You will ensure that you have the good performance following what the infrastructure usage, your hardware usage, but you will also follow up your model and know if your model are performing as you wish they should perform, and giving the good answer to your own customer. And this is all based on manageability. We are based on a containerization technology that will help you to dynamically optimize the infrastructure, dynamically deploy some new components, and always with the idea that we monitor everything. So this is a joint tooling stack. So in fact, we join with Dell for this offer. We bring Atos component on top of Dell component. Atos bring the application layer on top of Kubernetes and on top of data layers. So we bring an MLOps framework that will be built around preferred integrated tool as model registry, orchestrator, sorry, and serving solution. We will deploy on top of this MLOps framework some pipeline that will allow you to have your AI model train and push to production on top of the appliance. And then this all these tools will be deployed on Dell component, and Dell will provide on this side the hardware, scaling the good sizing, the good size of your hardware, having the good components, and bringing all the, let's say, the infrastructure software you will need to deploy the MLOps component, such as Kubernetes, in fact. So we have a small description of the stack on the right. As I say, on MLOps and AI deployment is a journey around AI usage, and on this journey where Sovereign AI bring you some elements, Atos is able to help you and guide you around all this journey, starting for use case identification with our technology consulting and our InnoLabs, with model identification or data cleaning with our data and AI practice or specialized service center, with Sovereign AI, as we propose today, with our partner Dell, with consulting, because MLOps is also, as Yannick say, a part of building a governance on top of our model. So we could help you to build this governance, and then usage at the end of the path is how you can integrate AI model in your different software in your company. So to conclude, this offer is a combination with Dell that makes us unique. It's an end-to-end coverage of your AI chain of value, from use case to serving the model. It's a framework that is agile and customizable, so you can go on different AI workload, IoT, LLM, and so on. We build a consistent partnership with Dell. So Dell is a leader on building infrastructure on-prem solution, and we will help you to build on top of that all you need to leverage your AI projects. And this is based on a very strong partnership we have from a long time with Dell, which is more than 10 years, and we have a strong collaboration between two of us. So this is all for us. I will now let Anna drive the question. Don't hesitate if you have one.
Yes, yes. Thank you guys very much. Yes, indeed, as expected, we have 5 questions so far, but still, if you have some, please put them in the question panel. So question number 1, is the Sovereign AI a competitor to MS Copilot? Is the Sovereign AI competitor to MS Copilot?
No, Sovereign AI is not a competitor to MS Copilot. MS Copilot bring you AI is it could be you at the usage of AI. The goal of Sovereign AI is to provide the lower level of AI so that you can build your own usage and not the Copilot one. So the idea is to help you to build other usage that's the one provided by Copilot.
Thank you. Question number 2. What are the benefits of Sovereign AI implementation?
I still answer. You want to answer, Yannick?
Yes, and the whole point of this Sovereign AI offer is to provide a platform on which your data scientist teams and can work on. And actually, if you've used a different solution on the market, the good thing is with this platform, you'll be able actually to specify your data pipelines and automatically, and this pipeline will be able to provide models and also all the monitoring that comes with it. You see, so you can set up your pipelines, and this is going to be done automatically. What I mean is that you simply specify where the input data is and what you are going to monitor. Let's say that you specify a threshold. If the model drifts over 10%, then we need to trigger an alert. This is specified into a governance plan, and then the platform will do the rest and create all those pipelines and build them for you. So when it's easy to set up and easy to use.
Thank you. And next question. why should I consider your sovereign AI over other solutions? Why should I consider your Atos sovereign AI over other solutions?
In fact, I think that the idea of sovereign AI is to bring you a customizable framework. So the idea is that you will find lots of AI solutions. Most of them doesn't cover everything. The idea of sovereign AI is to bring you a framework of software and open source tool that help you to have the solution on the end to the end of the model deployment or model training approaches. And this will be customized for you with because the framework will be adapted around your needs. And this will be one part. And the second part is that you will, the idea of sovereign AI is to help you to master the different part of this stack and of the MLOps process. So it will be an accelerator for you and to help your team to go faster on deploying AI.
Okay, thank you. And the next question. What tool will be used for model serving in sovereign AI? What tool will be used for model serving in sovereign AI?
Right, so as Loic said, and all the components are open sourced. So when as a task orchestrator, you are going to find Apache Airflow for big data and operations, and so Apache Spark is going to be used. For model versioning, we are going to use an industry standard, which is MLflow. And for LLM serving, we are going to use the Ray framework. So everything is open sourced.
Thank you. And the last question, does the sovereign AI appliance include a data lake? Does the sovereign AI appliance include a data lake?
Yes, yes, it does. And so the open source solution, which is being used, is Apache Iceberg, and to specify and all your and the Delta tables.
Okay, thank you very much. I do not see any more questions, so I think that we may slowly close the Q&A session. So it's time to slowly say goodbye. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, all of you, for registering or joining our today's webinar. Feel free to register and join our next session, which is next week, 12th of June, dedicated to cyber recovery with our next great expert, Mario Merkovich. And let's stay tuned. Let's be in touch. Please follow our social media channels. Visit our webpage, atos.net, where you can always find up-to-date information. Thank you very much. Have a nice day, and let's stay tuned.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.